So friends, good people, honest people, ethical people are standing up to the corruption of Donald Trump and his henchmen at the Department of Justice. Let's talk about the ever-increasing number of righteous resignations. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, the resignations are mounting. Righteous resignations. Federal prosecutors, one after another, are resigning rather than corruptly dismissing the case, the criminal prosecution against New York City Mayor Eric Adams, as Donald Trump's corrupt DOJ leadership is demanding. Who's the latest federal prosecutor to resign? The lead prosecutor in the Eric Adams case, a gentleman named Hagen Scotton. And before we turn to the new reporting, who is Hagen Scotton? Mr. Scotton served 3 combat tours in Iraq as a U.S. Army Special Forces officer and earned 2 Bronze Stars. He graduated from Harvard Law School and clerked for Chief Justice John Roberts of the U.S. Supreme Court and for Brett Kavanaugh before he became a Supreme Court justice. Okay, friends, and now that you have just some idea of who Mr. Scotton is, here's the new reporting from the New York Times. Headline, Adams lead prosecutor quits defiantly. It was never going to be me. And that article begins, Hagen Scotton, the lead prosecutor on the federal corruption case against Mayor Eric Adams of New York City, resigned after Justice Department officials ordered the dismissal of charges he had helped bring, suggesting that only a fool or a coward would obey. In an undated, scathing resignation letter, Mr. Scotton wrote that any federal prosecutor would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials. He added, if no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, then I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion, but it was never going to be me. Mr. Scotton was responding to a Justice Department official's directive this week to dismiss the bribery, fraud, and other charges against Mr. Adams so the mayor could help with President Trump's immigration crackdown. The official, Emil Bove, who is the acting Deputy Attorney General, gave the order to Danielle Sassoon, the acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. She resigned on Thursday rather than carry out the order to seek dismissal of the charges against Mr. Adams. Ms. Sassoon, a veteran Southern District prosecutor, was elevated last month by the Trump administration to lead the office. At the time, she and Mr. Scotton were co-chiefs of the office's Criminal Appeals Unit. And friends, with your kind indulgence, I'm going to read these 2 sentences just one more time. Mr. Scotton served 3 combat tours in Iraq as a U.S. Army Special Forces officer and earned 2 Bronze Stars. He graduated from Harvard Law School and clerked for Chief Justice John Roberts and for Brett Kavanaugh before he became a Supreme Court justice. Mr. Scotton has led the investigation into Mr. Adams since it began in the summer of 2021. And now, friends, I just want to take a minute to read the short, pointed, and powerful resignation letter of Hagen Scotton. Mr. Bove, I have received correspondence indicating that I refused your order to move to dismiss the indictment against Eric Adams without prejudice, subject to certain conditions, including the express possibility of reinstatement of the indictment. That is not exactly correct. The U.S. Attorney Danielle Sassoon never asked me to file such a motion, and I therefore never had the opportunity to refuse. But I am entirely in agreement with her decision not to do so for the reasons stated in her February 12, 2025 letter to the Attorney General. In short, the first justification for the motion, that Damian Williams' role in the case somehow tainted a valid indictment supported by ample evidence and pursued under 4 different U.S. attorneys, is so weak as to be transparently pretextual. Can I just translate pretextual from legalese to English? It is transparently bullshit. My editorial edition. The second justification is worse. No system of ordered liberty can allow the government to use the carrot of dismissing charges or the stick of threatening to bring them again to induce an elected official to support its policy objectives. There is a tradition in public service of resigning in a last-ditch effort to head off a serious mistake. Some will view the mistake you are committing here in the light of their generally negative views of the new administration. I do not share those views. I can even understand how a chief executive whose background is in business and politics might see the contemplated dismissal with leverage as a good, if distasteful, deal. But any assistant U.S. attorney would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials, in this way. If no lawyer within earshot of the president is willing to give him that advice, then I expect you will eventually find someone who is enough of a fool or enough of a coward to file your motion. But it was never going to be me. Please consider this my resignation. It has been an honor to serve as the prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. Yours truly, Hagen Scotton, Assistant United States Attorney, Southern District of New York. You know, friends, I have read and reread Mr. Scotton's resignation letter. And now, I wouldn't presume to speak for all prosecutors. I am just one career prosecutor, but this is us. It's who we are. It's what we stand for. And every single prosecutor should resign rather than becoming complicit in Emil Bove's corruption and signing a motion to dismiss Eric Adams' case. But frankly, there's another reason no prosecutor should file the motion to dismiss. If they did, they could be putting their bar license in jeopardy. Why do I say that? Consider this. I'm a prosecutor, prosecuting a defendant, and I say to that defendant, look, Mr. Defendant, if you will help me with my political priorities and goals, I'll go ahead and dismiss your case. And the defendant says, sounds good to me. And I move to dismiss the defendant's case because he's going to help me with my priorities. That is a conspiracy. That represents obstructing justice. Frankly, it's also likely bribery, using my official position for a thing of personal value. No prosecutor should put their signature on a motion to dismiss Eric Adams' case, given that Mr. Bove announced in writing that this has nothing to do with the evidence. There's no deficiency in the evidence of Eric Adams committing crimes. No, this is so Eric Adams can help Donald Trump with his goals and priorities, immigration and other priorities. Are you kidding me? Any prosecutor who signed a dismissal motion under those circumstances would run the risk of being disbarred. So friends, pressure, opposition, resistance is mounting, and it undoubtedly will continue to mount. And let's finish with this. If somehow, somewhere, there is a prosecutor willing to sign this corrupt motion to dismiss in the Eric Adams prosecution, guess what happens next? That motion gets filed, and the judge who is presiding over the Eric Adams case will have a say in whether to grant that motion or not. If it were me, the first thing I would do is order Emil Bove or Bove, I don't really care, order him to appear, to take the witness stand, and to testify about this corrupt quid pro quo. This, what may very well be criminal obstruction of justice, conspiracy, bribery, scheme that Bove and others at the Department of Justice have hatched. That's what I would do. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.